further, as it gets warmer, they go into TH again, and then you have the different species, the Clyparis in cans and Rockhampton and things like that. The AAs come from colder country, back in the over the range sort of thing, back of Ipswich, areas like that. This is my wife. Sorry, I got away from it. My wife Helen. She's Queen Bee, you could say. She does all the photography.
It's 20 years for him to say that.
Now, what I didn't get was my screw gun.
Huh?
The screw gun.
Drill thing?
Yes, that you had yesterday.
Drill thing.
Put her own curtains up. What else did I have to go through? What I'm doing here is I'll be cutting this open with a chainsaw to see how big it is. This one, what happens with logs is this was hooked up to an induction box, so a box there. What we do to propagate hives, once we've got a very strong colony, we hook another box up, like that. So they travel through the empty box and make a new home in there. So this was hooked up for, how long? 7 months?
Yeah.
Yep. And they didn't do anything. So there's a few bees that are still in there. They basically sealed it up. Sealed up around the joins, as they always do.
Just to stay on there at home.
But they should be making stores. That should be, after 7 months, that should have been able to be disconnected. So what happens with logs? They're a hit and miss. It's due to the cavity that's in the log, whether it's big enough, whether it's too big. They put bitumen around the outside of it, and then it restricts the size that they can build the brood. That's if the cavity's too big. If the cavity's too small, the brood cannot expand big enough to allow for enough bees to be hatched and for the numbers to increase enough for them to build into an induction box, I'm pretty sure by the weight of this damn thing, it doesn't have a very big cavity. But we'll find out. They haven't filled that up either.
No, not like the last one.
No, they usually fill that up with a lot of spiderweb structure. Good size hole. That's what I was surprised with. Didn't think it'd be that big. Oh, who knows what's in there? Ants, that's for one. It could be too, yeah. Now when you're cutting logs, you got to be good with a chainsaw, for one. You don't want to be breaching the cavity where the bees are. You've got to be just off the cavity, all the way down either side, and then we crack it with a couple of jimmy bars. So that's the tricky part. Too many people just go and just cut straight into everything and kill so many bees, and then there's honey leaking everywhere. And,
Excuse me, man. Camera.
sorry, in the wrong spot. Yeah, it's honey leaking everywhere, and it's not a pretty sight. And as a result, they don't survive. So it's we've developed best practice over quite a long time, and so this is how we do it. I'll turn that down while I'm got the chainsaw going. This was bought especially for the bees. We'll see how we go with that.
Grew up watching the guy do that on the farm at home.
I can see it down the bottom.
Close. Into the camera.
I'm going to lay this down so the mud doesn't fall inside the... Wasn't as loose as I thought. Here they come.
Yep.
I've upset them now.
Here they come. Yep, nearly there.
You're not wrong about the numbers.
Oh my goodness. That is, wow, look, there's the brood.
Brood of the top.
There and there. Slaters. It is unusual that they've built the brood
At the top.
right up to the mud. They've used that as insulation. They usually put a lot of pollen stores above the brood and use it because that's the insulation. But this time they've used the nice mud.
Stools. Sorry.
Must be what, sorry?
It's funny because when I say them out of it.
Have you seen the colour of the wax?
Yeah.
And what colour is it?
It's very similar actually.
Is it?
A little bit lighter.
They're not well, AA use almost pure beeswax.
Oh no. It must be something different.
And the bird's not like this. It's not in a spiral.
It wasn't when I found them, but it is now.
Is it? You might have had a takeover.
No. I've kept an eye on them every day since I've been there.
Have you? Okay. What did you find them in?
Just an old fallen log at the Woodford Golf Course.
Okay. Woodford. Oh, that'd be TC.
Yeah, they're a lot smaller than these ones, aren't
Yeah, you do get smaller ones out in the cooler area. Yeah, they're TC.
Yeah?
Yep.
When they started, there was no structure to it whatsoever when
Yeah.
I found them. Absolutely none. It was like an AA one. It just fell apart.
Just fell apart.
And since I put them in there and that little bit of polypipe,
Yep.
they've turned it into a spiral.
Yep. They're TC. Yeah.
There you go.
TC, the only bee that make the Fibonacci spiral. So you'll see down here, this is all honey. You can taste it if you like. It'll be very, very tangy. Beautiful. There too.
Just be mindful of the camera, folks.
Sorry.
So it looks like it's split right along the advancing front. So what you see here, these bird here are hatching. So they're hatching from there going up, basically here going up. This is all new cells. See there's a few older cells in here that have had the wax stripped off them. Now all these are new cells because they're all fully enclosed in wax. What they do, the queen, the nurse bees make a cell. You'll see the empty cells here, the open cells. around the edge. Now, the nurse bees make the cells, and then other nurse bees, their job is to provision the cells. They get a bit of pollen and a bit of honey, and they make royal jelly, and they put that in the cells. Then when the queen comes along, she's watching the cells. When she sees that there's enough provision in the cells, she'll then lay an egg in the cells, and then the nurse bees close the cell up. That will take 50 days from that egg being laid to the queen hatching. See this bee here? One of the larvae have come out of the cell, and it's taking it away. Where it's broken open here, there's another one. That's a tiny little larvae. That hasn't pupated yet into a bee, so that's still a grub.
So that hive looks like it's actually running out of room, is it?
Yes,
with that mud
it had no more room left.
They would have eventually taken
No, well they don't. They're quite happy to stay in there.
Yeah, and?
Do nothing.
Yeah.
Just live in there for as long as they wanted.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
But don't build.
No, they've got enough stores in there to last them 50 years.
Oh, okay.
You know, they always store way too much than they need. This one obviously comes from it had been somewhere where there's a lot of pollen trees, a lot of palm trees. You've got a lot of palm trees around your area. Yeah, that's why there's so much pollen. Because on palm trees they go excess, and they just bring back so much pollen that it ends up crowding out the hive. And there should be much more honey stores than what there is pollen, and this is reversed basically. Honey stores should be up to there, and only about that much pollen. So that you can see that they're bringing back, and the colour as well, they're bringing back a lot of palm tree pollen. So, and then what happens, once these bees are 26 days old, I think it is, they pupate. They spin a little cocoon around themselves inside the cell, which is what you see here, where the wax has been stripped off them. And then the bees come along, and the nurse bees strip the wax off them, and they reuse it to make new cells. So it's reused and reused over. And then what happens once the bee hatches out of this cocoon, they bundle up the cocoon and they bring that outside the hive, and that's what the rubbish you see, the bees bringing out little balls outside the hive. So every single one of those little balls represents a new bee that's been hatched. So she's a very, very nice hive, this one. This is as good as the other box. So there's no reason really why this shouldn't have been deducted, because the bird's big enough.
This was showing more size than the other one, though.
Yeah.
Looking at that hive there.
See, that's hard bitumen. That stuff there. It's rock hard. That's their protective outer casing. So once they build that, and this is what happens in a log that's way too big. If they build in a tree like that, and they just build one side of the log then inside, and then they cover the whole thing in bitumen, and then they can't expand outside that bitumen because it's way too hard. It's basically their own demise sort of thing. There was one I rescued from down at Wamuran, I think it was. It had actually fallen out of the tree. The tree had rotted that bad. See this stuff here? That sticky stuff? That's Kadaji resin from the Kadaji tree. Eucalyptus tolerana. TC are very good at removing the seeds from the hive, but they love using the resin. And they always store it around the top. and that's their protection. If a small hive beetle or something gets inside the hive, they dab it with this Kadaji resin and intern it very, very quick. And the small hive beetle doesn't have a chance. You'll see all these little dots on here. This is where the bees have tagged me with it. So every time I open a hive, they tag me. See how they're all buzzing around me? Because I'm the one that's in their hive. So what I need to do is remove this brood.
What's that worm-like thing at the end here?
Oh, it's a slug.
A slug?
That's a slug. Yeah. There's all sorts of things. There's another one there. All sorts of things live in the mud. See, there's a little bit of pollen stores at the top here, underneath that bitumen. So the brood basically goes up to about there. Hit right in the eyelid. Yep, that's where it is.
Just wait till they're in your armpit.
Thanks for clearing that up.
But don't plan on it.
So you're taking off the pollen now, are you?
Yeah.
Don't get a transfer of my hive when it changed him around the paddock.
So honey pollen, brood pollen. Is that normal?
Yes. They'll always store pollen above the brood, and a little bit of honey as well. You see, there's a little bit of honey in there.
Yep.
That's their stores that they're using straight away, sort of thing. They keep on removing those and replenishing them to provision the brood cells.
It's funny, they're all going into that box now. It's sort of like, oh, this is my new home.
Yeah.
No, really, because they're in
Because of the smell of the bees are already in there.
Yeah.
Because it was hooked up to this log.
They're even going in through that piece of poly pipe.
Yeah. That poly pipe was on the front of the log.
It's like a playground.
So they think that's it. If I put that there. There's the topper. I'll just sit that there for now. So I've got to get this one out first and put that in the box first.
So would you expect to find the queen?
We may be lucky.
And if what happens if you didn't transfer the queen into that box? They just make a new one?
Yes, she'll be in there. She'll be either in here or in here.
Yep.
If we don't see her, I'll point out some queen cells shortly.
Yep. Yep. So it's not crucial you transfer the queen.
Well, it is. it's always preferable.
Yeah, preferable, but
But if something happens to her by chance,
yeah.
T to H, it's always important that you do find the queen, because they can be very, very pedantic, and it's a good size hive, and it's just, if there's not a queen cell that's within days of hatching, it could perish.
So that's a TC.
TH.
TH.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're a stronger bee, but TC are much better at producing new queens than TH for some reason. And never rush these things, always take your time. There's all structure in there.
Take 1,000 photos, might get 10 good ones. It's the way you do it these days.
Look at
It's
the percentage.
so much better with digital rather than waiting a week to find out they're all crap.
Oh yeah. And you paid for the crap.
Yeah, so you pay for them.
Yeah, that was always the way you paid for them to be developed, and then
Can you hold that there for a moment?
yeah, I'll see the.
You didn't say that wrong.
No.
These are all the new cells being built around the edge.
He doesn't like more.
TC actually, they're the only bee that really they mass make cells all the way around the edge, and then they mass provision them, and then the queen comes along and goes all of them, and then they close them all up. So you have all these bees hatching at once all the time.
Can you face around here?
See, these are the older cells. They're fallen down. These are ready to hatch.
So do they reuse the cells once they've hatched, or is that it?
No, that cocoon. What they do is they strip the wax off it.
Yep.
Once the bee's pupated it into a bee, so it turns from a grub into a bee,
Yep.
and it spins a cocoon around itself when it's doing that.
Yep.
These light cells are the cocoons,
Yep.
so they have no wax
Okay.
left on them.
Yep.
What they do is they strip the wax off and make new ones.
Okay.
So they keep reusing the wax. But once this cocoon hatches, it's got the, see there's a bee there that's come out, and it's pupated into an adult bee, but it's still white. You can see the bee structure. It's still about 2 weeks away from hatching as an adult.
Can you come all the
Because it
way
hasn't,
around?
dropped it.
Oops.
Over there.
Yeah, it's over there, great.
It has no eyes. There's another one.
Don't drop it.
It did.
No.
Right at your toe. Your right foot toe, is it?
I thought I seen it.
No, closer to your foot. Stop. There.
No.
Is that it? I
No.
can't really see.
Right, just point at one ear.
There's a couple that have come out there. That one's just getting its eyes. You see the dark point?
Oh, you're too close now. Put this in. Thank you.
There's two there, one a bit older. So the one on the right is a young one. This one is closer to hatching than the other. See how it's getting darker?
Can I just have another quick look, please? Oh, so that one's older than that
Yeah.
one. Thank you.
Hot.
cells.
Just
There's a
remember
queen
the
cell.
camera's here, hun.
Right there. See that big cell right on the edge?
Is that another one above it?
Yeah.
Feel free to show the video.
And it's not that far away from hatching either. Yeah, there's a queen cell there.
And when she hatches, should she survive, or the original queen killer?
No, I've actually seen them work quite well as a princess alongside the queen.
Okay.
Yep. And it depends on the age of the queen. See, the bird, the log was up this way. I know that because you can always tell the bottom of the cells. They're almost solid on the new cells. And in the top is all the ridges, and you can see the open cells. So you always know the top and the bottom of the bird. So it needs to go in the same way, preferably in the middle of the box. There's another big wagon away, one that's been opened. So she'll drop it and then come back up. They're cleaning bees, that's their job. So the very first job a bee does when it hatches is it bundles up its own brood cell, so its own cocoon. And then the nurse bees, the cleaning bees, then grab that and take it and dump it outside the hive. Look, there's a callow is what we call it. See, it's just hatched. There's another one that's just hatched. So there's very new bees, very young bees.
Wow.
So when they first come out, they're very, very light.
I've never seen them.
See the very light ones here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I never get a chance to do it.
They're baby bees. They're called callows. So you can see this is the bottom of the hive, the bottom of the bird, sorry. So it's upside down. Goes that way. Another one. But the queen, she can lay 300 eggs a day. Now once this brood gets big enough, they can expand that now. They'll expand that out like a football. So it'll go out a lot further in the middle and it'll come up like. That's how they make it inside the box. Now what they'll do here, they'll put pollen stores in the front, honey stores in the back. They always store honey pollen at the back. All they need to do is get some pollen out. That's in very good condition. And then I can feed it. I can give them a little bit in the box. Well, you know, it takes 13 grams of honey for them to consume 13 grams of honey to make 1 gram of wax. So a lot of energy is expended making honey or making wax. So what they do, when you see them coming back with all the little the clear and the red resins on their legs, what that is it's not going to work. Just swallow the bee.
That's compared to a fly.
Yeah.
Bee. I was watching there's a cartoon of a dog, and had a crazy look on its face, one of those crazy looking dogs. And it would what was it? The normal flies are sky raisins, and the bees, the honeybees, jalapeno sky raisins.
That's a lot of pollen there.
It is, and this is what they do when there's way too much when there's way too many palm trees around. They love the palm trees. This whole lot's going to come out. Oh, beautiful. I like it.
So it worked well, really.
It is, very much so. That's all honey.
Citrusy, isn't it?
It is.
Even the pollen's very citrusy.
Very much so.
Yeah, that's people pay a lot of money for it.
Especially that one.
Remember the video?
Yeah.
So have people tasted the pollen before? So you can eat pollen. There's some fresh pollen that looks like it's been there a while. You can even eat the wax like chewing gum. But this has a consistency of Scotch finger biscuit, or like a shortbread. Just have a little bit and it melts in your mouth. And it's just, you'll taste a range of flowers and trees and fruits that it got that pollen from.
Everything in full mixture.
Yeah. It's incredible. The indigenous would actually chew on this like chewing gum, just for something.
Everything in there.
What did this grow near?
Oh, you got citrus and everything. Real close.
More citrusy than
My
anything.
feet.
Yeah, so
Nice.
it'll be the lemon trees, the orange trees.
Is it? Yeah.
Wow.
It's got the polish.
You can use that this one, isn't it?
Yeah, it tastes
Still
nice.
see you go with a whole tablespoon on it, don't you?
Can I try some?
I like the pink bit off.
Suppose you can put it on a snack biscuit or something.
Yeah, that's the pollen. So you just have a taste of it, and it's got the consistency of like short, you know those melting moments? That's what it reminds me of when it just goes like dissolves on your tongue.
Is that a bit there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all break.
That'd be nice and coffee.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's pretty.
When I was in the
Yeah.
Kimberleys, worked on a cattle station in Kimberleys on Youngville.
A little bit of
Everybody
wax.
used to mix the beeswax with the ash.
So you're trying to find virtually,
I remember
Oh,
the name
well,
of the
they
tree.
do. They
Just
dry
to
this
pull up the
down
root
into
and
dry
burn it
little
with an
like
ash.
grains.
you're trying to
And
find
sell
clear
it.
pollen
Well,
there.
actually,
In the bee shop at
a
Yangon,
little bit like
they have.
Panadols, very, very strong Panadols.
Mm.
Just about right all down all day on the horse.
So you're trying to put dry pollen in?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find a decent sort of. I've got a little bit, but they've mixed a lot of honey in with it as well.
And what would happen if you put the honey in there, just to make it sticky?
The honey attracts pests.
Where?
Now what they do,
Oh, interesting. Good spotting.
what they do with honey, they can basically gather nectar and produce honey and use that honey straight away to provision the cells. Whereas the honey, the pollen, needs to
Notice
ferment
this was up
in the pot before they use it.
Yeah.
So we always give them a little
it
bit.
wasn't actually in the hive. It's at the top where the mud was. There's a slug.
Yeah, there's two of them in there.
There were a couple under it when I took it out the other night. It was in a wet area.
Here I said, watch the camera, watch the camera. I forgot.
So there's a lot of, there's still a lot of termite stuff down the middle of this that the termites have left. Yeah, there's a lot of honey in there as well.
Oh, yeah, a big ball of it there, yeah.
Around that side for pictures.
See, there's always stuff in here that the termites have still left. They just work around it.
There's a lot of honey in there, isn't there?
There is.
Oh, that looks good, doesn't it? Smells good.
It smells good, yeah.
It does.
Walk out the back door, you can smell that.
Well, I've got a little bit of honey, got a little bit of pollen in there. That should be enough. It's spring after all. They're going to be
Needing it.
They're going to be collecting it real damn quick. Especially after all this rain that we've had. Everything's flowering.
It is, it's much
Could
different.
you
Very much
please
different.
just put that to the camera over there and show this video?
Different from top to bottom.
Catch.
So there's still so much stuff in here. Leave that.
What's its predominance?
I don't know.
It's not as tangy as the others.
It's
though,
not.
is it? It's a lot sweeter out of the top.
Yeah. I think that's mostly from your pollen, from your palm trees. That's why it's not so tangy.
I've
Not
got
so citrusy.
a lot of flowers in my place too.
Yeah.
There's honeybee thief.
Out of all the nasturtiums.
Yeah, watch out if a honeybee comes close to these natives.
I've tasted that before and I've
The natives cane the honeybees. I was boxing up one lot of AA down in Brisbane, and the other side of Brisbane, and they 4 honeybees got into the box because it was on a bloke's place that has honeybees, and 4 of them went into the box, and I had to actually physically get the bees out of the box because they didn't have a hope. The natives just swarmed them. It's not the right hole you want to be going in.
So why is there a hole at the back of that one?
This was set up as an induction
Oh, okay, yeah.
on the log.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. And they're all looking at the hole at the back too, see?
Oh, there is a honeybee
After
there
that.
now. Oh, yes. They're like smart. They know where to put
Yeah,
them.
if I... I was going to use a milk crate before.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching them before.
It's about the spot they were in
Really hits you, doesn't it?
this morning. That's pretty close to their GPS, I think.
Pollen at the front.
Yep. And this is why could you give me a view panel, please? This is why the brood goes in the middle, pollen at the front, honey at the back. Look, she's trying to lock. And what they do is there's always a slot in the super. So there's a ply separator. We leave the view panel on and just cut a slot when the super's ready to go on, of course. You just cut a slot in the back of the view panel with a Stanley knife, and the super goes on top.
You got the scissors?
No. And
So if you're trying to do an induction, Dean, can you have a honey super on there as well?
yes, you can. You're actually better off. You saved her. She would have been cane.
You're saying better off to have a super while you're doing an induction?
Yes. What you do is you can, once they're chock-a-block full in there, you can put the super on, and they'll put extra honey in the super. And then once they're doing that, then you can hook up an induction, and it works very, very quick because they know they've got enough stores in the main hive, and they don't keep bringing back any more new stores to the main hive, and it all gets diverted into the induction box.
So do you glue that on or just sit it on?
No, I tape that on. That there has sealed it.
They'll seal it some more. Though,
They will. The first thing they do is they seal that off.
when you get that stuff.
You get it from Officeworks or any stationery supplies. It's actually cheaper getting it from a stationery supplies than Officeworks. It's half price. Officeworks, it's $50 for 100 sheets. The one in Biwa, where I got it from, it's $25 for 100 sheets. So,
There you go.
it's crazy.
So you just make sure there's two thicknesses. One's 150 microns, but these are 200.
Yeah, 200 microns. They're a bit thick.
250.
250, are they? Yeah.
The bees will eat through the 150, surprisingly, but the 250 they won't.
See, that's only a thin. I don't know what that is. It's a bit opaque too. What was that? You can see that.
Oh, that was from Officeworks.
Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the light stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
It does make a
The-
difference.
Doesn't have them.
Yeah.
I got mine for $13.45, 100 sheets online.
Did you online?
2.5.
Even better.
Yep.
Yeah.
I only had to wait 3 weeks, but
Like my
free
curtains.
postage, you
I
just
had to wait
wait.
6
It's
weeks
fine.
for them. Put them up yesterday.
I'm going to let them in there as well. They want to go in that hole as well.
So how long do you leave out there before you can shift it?
It can go tonight
Oh, okay.
if
So
it has to.
how far can you take it?
It needs to either go, because they're reoriented now to this spot, so it either needs to go over a kilometre away Oh.
The first ship.
for about 2 weeks,
Okay.
and then you can bring it back and put it wherever you want to in your garden. So, say if these were my bees, they're mixed, she's log. If these were my bees and I wanted to put them in the garden here, say I wanted to put them on that little post up there, I would have done them here, and then in about a week I'd move them half a metre back, and then every couple of days after that you can move them half a metre back until you get to that point, because their GPS is set, so that is that point. So if you move it 2 foot this way, I'll keep going back to there. If you take it from here and put it over the other side of the yard, I'll keep coming back here.
And then how do you get on if it goes to this place?
That's where you move them slowly every couple of days. And then once they're there, they've reset. They just keep resetting it a little bit at a time.
The other option is you could lock them up, take them away, a few kilometres away, leave them at someone's house for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and then bring them back and put them straight where you want them.
Yeah, so that's what you do. You either,
They're locked up all day, every day.
no,
No, you can let
you lock them
out
up overnight
Yeah.
Yeah.
when they're all home.
Yeah.
Take them to a friend's place over a kilometre away,
No, they're not.
because they travel, it's been found at the extreme outside, they travel up to 750 metres to forage. They usually like to stay within about 200 metres, but they will travel, most of the time they'll travel up to 500 metres to forage.